The inaugural Maryland Cycling Classic, supported by UnitedHealthcare, got underway at the headquarters of Kelly Benefice, just about 20 miles north of the city of Baltimore, where riders from all over the world signing in. The Colombian Medellin team going up against some very strong Americans in this race as well, including the Trek Segafredo team with the American Quinn Simmons looking for a good result, wearing number 1 on his back as one of the big pre-race favorites, along with the Legion of Los Angeles team, one of the crowd favorites out there, as riders come from all over the world. Over 20 nations represented on the start list at the Maryland Cycling Classic. After a brief neutral start, eventually the racing began, and we saw some large gaps forming out on the road as they worked their way through Baltimore County before eventually making their way back down to the city. There was a group of just over 20 riders that escaped off the front. These two tried to join them late, with Canadian Alec Cowan and Adam DeVos trying to join them. They would never make it up, as we saw Quinn Simmons taking maximum points in the first King of the Mountain competition, a climbing competition here at the Maryland Cycling Classic, where riders compete for climbing points along intermediate climbs. Then we saw Guillermo then try to have a go at it. The Canadian trying to go across the gap. He wouldn't make it either, because the Colombians had their go at it. This is Robinson Oyola trying to have a look with Nielsen Palace, the American. Both riders looking for points in the King of the Mountain competition, but eventually Oyola would take maximum points through the second King of the Mountain. So that put Quinn Simmons in a very difficult situation, because Simmons would need to pick up maximum points through the third and final King of the Mountain competition in order to seal that. So that's him in the white jersey getting to the front for his Trek Segafredo team, as Simmons very clearly had a mission after winning the first King of the Mountain points. He looked to pick them up into the third and final King of the Mountain as well. So an abbreviated group forming off the front, but eventually Simmons would get to work for that Trek Segafredo team and get the separation that he was looking for, but not before riders like Nielsen Palace tried to give it a go. Palace, one of the strongest Americans in this race, but eventually they would bring him back, and that would set up the third and final King of the Mountain climb. Also saw Nick Zukowski, the human-powered health rider in the orange and purple jersey there, starting to move up to the front. He would be a major player later on in the race, but this is Simmons and Oyola going at it. They were trying to break the tie. After Simmons won round 1, Oyola won round 2. Simmons would win the tiebreaker into the third and final King of the Mountain. So, Bobby, a secure jersey for Quinn Simmons, but his job wasn't done yet.
Yeah, there was a lot of racing left to do, and I was kind of wondering what he was doing going for those King of the Mountain sprints, but I mean, great day out there on the roads of Baltimore County. Eventually the
race leaders got back to work. The group of what was 24 became a group of 12, and then eventually that would shrink even smaller down to a select group of what ended up being just 4 riders remaining. This is the Latvian rider Tom Skoinj on the front, the first of 4 circuits into downtown Baltimore. Now the group of 12 was all together the first time through, but this was the separation that eventually formed with these 4 going away. Tom Skoinj of the Trek Segafredo team out of Latvia, Sepp Vanmarcke, the Belgian, riding for the Israel Premier Tech team, Nielsen Palace, the American, for EF Education first, and then Nick Zukowski. Zukowski tried to get the sprint at the end, but it goes to the Belgian for the Israel Premier Tech team, winning a 2-up sprint against Zukowski to the line, and Sepp Vanmarcke becomes the inaugural champion of the Maryland Cycling Classic. A huge day for Vanmarcke and a huge day for American bike racing.
100%. What an amazing day. What an amazing result. I mean, this day was perfect.
So Vanmarcke in yellow. Jente Biermans wins the direct pace sprint points jersey. Quinn Simmons is your King of the Mountain winner. Andrea Piccolo in the best young riders jersey, and Nick Zukowski, the most aggressive rider.